Hey, am I live? I'm just Dumbledoring over here some spells. Give me a hot second here to make the magic happen for everyone. Let's see. Let's go to... Nope. I want to go to my channel. And then scroll down to Yugoloth art, and then it looks like we're live. So doing it. Yugoloth art, and that volume sounds pretty good. I think we're on point today. So give me a hot second here. I'm going to pick up this link, drop it into my social medias here right quick. We'll get to work here this morning for about an hour or so. We're working on Yugoloth tokens right now. I'm creating an adventure for the Eberron campaign setting in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Quick backstory for me, for those that don't know, I'll walk through the medley. If you're already familiar with my channel, you've been here in the past, and you're catching us in the stream here in the future, skip ahead a minute, and we'll get into the artwork that we're working on today. But for those that are new to the channel, or that are trapped here in space-time with me here and now, my name is Phil Kearney. Hey, I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish online. Like I said, we're creating an Eberron Adventure. I've been an Eberron enthusiast since 2004 when it came out in 3rd edition. I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. And I've been creating content for 5th edition on the DMsGuild since 2017, but I have never published an adventure. Been in a number of different adventures, helping create maps, scenarios, random tables, lairs, stuff like that, but never my own creation from ideation to publication. So that's what we're doing here. We're creating a full adventure here online, and I get my socials bumped up. So let me just say real quick, if you're on the X Twitter platform, I'm at Phil Kearney. You can catch like the new books that I'm like the subclasses. Revivified is on the DMsGuild right now. There's 69 subclasses that haven't been published by WOTC yet. So me and part of a lot of people, we built this thing out, and it's got all 69 subclasses lit. I did all the monks. I'm pretty happy with them. If you're familiar with my martial powers conversion stream, you watched me build all of these on stream. That was about 3 weeks ago, so you can see my portion of this and the thought process that went on behind it and stuff. So check that out if you're interested. I stream 10 days per week. Hey, Ralph. I stream 10 days per week to show you the art that I create and what it goes into creating role-playing products that are being published. So like we come up with the idea, we hash out the rough details of it, and then we play test it, and if it works, we finish building out the mechanics for it, and then we hire an editor to clean it up. Then we come back, we do the layouts for it, and once the layouts are done, we publish it, and we start the next project. So I always got a few different projects that are on the fire at any given time. Whatever I do Monday through Friday in the morning, like this is the artwork that I'm doing for the next project to publish. In this case, it's the Eberron Adventure. On my workbench on other days, Mondays and Thursday nights like tonight, as well as Tuesday and Friday lunches, and then I have a brunch time stream on Saturday. So 10 times per week, 5 are doing artwork for Eberron. The other 5 are doing creation, ideation, workload for other projects in development. We've been working on the Martial Powers project. We'll be continuing that tonight with the Artificer, and we're also working on the Color Mana Spell Point variant rule system. We'll be working on Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica next, as well as the core mechanics, Knights and Tricksters, Spell Point Warlocks, Spell Point Sorcerers, Spell Point Artificers, and revising the Universal Spell Point system. And then we can look at the 4 elements. And there's also the Bastion system that we're rebuilding as in command of guilds and kingdoms. We also have the Mecha Kaiju project as an expansion of Spelljammer. We have the Spelljammer subclasses that we've been working on that we can continue on once we get Warlocks done, actually. And guilds, and then there's in command of squads and armies, which is an expansion of large-scale troop combat, mass combat for D&D that actually uses 5e mechanics. All my stuff uses 5e mechanics because 5e is the best engine in the world. And then we'll be doing Kickstarters for my own role-playing game, which is built off of ability checks. So, hey, what's up? Gonna have this in the background. Right on, man. Hey, you know, if I'm a good study hall environment for your creativity, I'm the one that's blessed to provide that. So, engage as you please. Anyone out there, engage as you please. So this is a Yugoloth, an Ultraloth. Ultraloth are supposed to have 2 eyes, but the Eye of Mabar, the artifact used to create this manifest zone to the plane of Mabar in Eberron, it creates it from the ritual caster by basically melting down that body in a chrysalis, kind of like a caterpillar is the ritual caster, and then the butterfly is the Yugoloth that emerges. But since it's an artifact, it's an orb of power called the Eye of Mabar. It has a single eye as a cyclops on its head. Like last time we were showing the Kenoloth. This is the consolation prize for anyone that fails the ritual to become this monstrosity and go on a killing blind rampage and shut everything down. But if you're successful in the ritual, you are ascended to the form of an Ultraloth, a CR13 daemon from in normal D&D settings. I think this guy's in Gehenna, but in Eberron it's Mabar. That is a little loud still. Let's see if I can drop that. Holy Hannah, we have new subscribers. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate people being interested in what I do here. God bless you. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications. And let's see. Here's a link to the Spelljammer book. Here's the new subclasses revivified. Here's the Color Mana Spellpoint variant rule system. Here's the Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica. Here's Spellpoint Warlocks specifically. This just went gold. I'm sorry, it just went gold, so I need to update this. So, thanks, guys, we did it. This is the first gold medal. A gold medal is awarded on DMsGuild when you've sold over 500 copies of a book. And I'm especially thrilled because it's pay what you want, which means that you could take it for free and not even thank me. But literally 50%, it's 49.6% of the people that have downloaded Spellpoint Warlocks from DMsGuild have purchased it, and that's an insane ratio for a pay what you want. Like, people can voluntarily buy this or not, while half of them decided to, probably because it's bundled with all the other books. So a lot of times people will check out my stuff and they'll just go, okay, well, I'm just going to buy the whole bundle. A lot of times what I'll see is people will buy Spellpoint Warlocks for $1, and then they'll come back 2 or 3 days later and buy the rest of my books. I love that. It's such a great loss leader. In the industry, it's called a loss leader, where you're offering something for free in hopes that the customer will spend more money. And that's why I make all my stuff on the DMsGuild 100% free preview. Granted, I did not publish. I was just hired for the Revivify project. I am not the creator of it. That's Adam Hancock, my editor, and everyone has their own philosophies about what to see. So the Revivified book is not 100% free preview. That's why I streamed the entire part of my process of it, so you can see all the content that I built for free. So everyone's different, but I mean, to be completely honest, this whole project of building stuff on the DMsGuild is a really long-winded marketing campaign to provide tons of proof that my pudding's good. So when I start doing Kickstarter projects, I can refer to all the other books I've ever created and say, hey, this is the kind of stuff that I build. Here's my new idea. If you want to be a part of it, drop me some dollars and we'll make it happen. So, yeah, that's what we're doing here. And right now I'm just creating some. Since the ritual caster is transformed into the Ultraloth, I can reference the clothing of the ritual caster for the costume for this Ultraloth. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just basically building out some anatomy so that it looks good. when we when we start coloring. So we're going to color today. I'm just working on the angles here just for a few moments. I like getting that bicep sag in the arm there, the crook, like that. Hey, how about that timely timer? That's keeping me on task to make sure that I don't blow over my time. Like, it's 7 o'clock now. I literally have an hour this morning. Excuse me. Like I said earlier when I was doing my intro, I'm here 10 times per week, and I'll be back on stream tonight to continue work on the Martial Powers project. Tuesday, we finished the Warlock. Actually, that's not true. We finished the subclasses for Warlock on Tuesday. Before I get to work on the Artificer tonight, we need to finish the Warlock invocations for the Martial Powers project. And I'm just going to talk about Martial Powers here for a hot second because I love it. So that's, let me get this arm crooked properly. This here, and this should be like this. And then hand here like that. And how many fingers do you have? You have 1, 2, 3 and a thumb. Ba-da-bum. 3 and a thumb. There we go. 1, 2, 3. It's a bit long for the arm, so I'm going to shorten it up here. Work on some foreshortening skills. But yeah, martial powers, man. There's this issue called the martial caster divide, and it was eliminated in 4th edition, but everyone hated it. It turns out that you need to have different mechanical expression for different classes for them to feel different, for them to make a difference for you. Like if the play between a paladin and the ranger were identical, there'd be no difference. And then it would just come down to like fantasy aesthetics. Like, are you a woodsman warden using your half casting power to launch to deal extra damage to creatures, or are you a holy warrior with an oath of behavior that empowers your holy smites that deal extra dice of damage to your foes? Like it would then become like 6 or a half dozen. What's the difference? Just the label. So you have to have mechanical differences between the classes for them to like. Not only do you need to have them like with a different narrative, but they also have to have different mechanics so that they feel different. So that like when I play a paladin, that has like a different implied action loop than I'm going to play a ranger. You want them to feel different. And then if you nail the aesthetic for what they're doing, then you have a really good identity for the class. And so 4th edition D&D homogenized mechanics so that everyone was using the same mechanics. Like at 5th level, my fighter is going to do like 3 weapon dice of damage plus my ability modifier when I hit a target. And at 5th level, a wizard can basically cast a cantrip that will deal 3 dice of damage and your spell casting ability modifier to a single target. And then you go on from there. Like that's literally like, what's the difference between the warrior, the fighter, and the spellcaster in that instance? The ability modifier that they use. That's it. So it's mechanically equivalent, and the narrative isn't strong enough to really define one from the other. So it all feels same. So it gets a bad rap as being a dull system, even though it's mechanically really tightly built. Its architecture is excellent. Its narrative was shit, and its mechanical diversity was 30 levels instead of 20 levels, and it was all like the sameness. So that's the largest complaint about it. There's no real actual spells. It's just magical powers. And then like spells were just rituals. But anyone could perform rituals if you just took a feat, if it wasn't automatically something that was assigned to you. So a fighter basically gains the same breadth of abilities that a wizard has with very little mechanical difference over the course of 30 levels. So that edition, although they made a ton of content for it and it did sell, it's not acclaimed as a great system. Like 3E was revolutionary because it created the deck building concept of character creation for D&D in general, which paved the way to Pathfinder. And then, of course, the OGL opening up, it basically created a new genre of role-playing games, or a new unifying game engine for role-playing games, anything that you wanted. And I love the D20 engine, and I love 5E in particular because of how mechanically adaptable. Like it is the God, what Nissan car is it that people love to kit bash for making hot rods? I can't remember. Is it the Ultima? That's just such a the engine's easily, the wheels are easy to change, the axle it's a very modular car that's easy for you to kit out and change if you're into street racing. So, to that same sense, 5e is like a really good street engine car. And there's so much you can do with 5e that and with the open gaming license being so appealing, like it's such an open source engine, and then the SRD giving you a free sample of how the game works. Like there's no wonder that WOTC was able to reestablish themselves as the industry titan, and well deserved, because that was a great revolutionary game engine in the year 2000. So 5e spin forward, they moved away from 4e homogeny of classes and got back into diversity, 20 level progression with every class feeling very different from each other, which was a triumph. And the simplicity of the 5e game engine makes it easy for you to build new classes and build subclasses. It took a lot of design load off of the WOTC team that was creating, so they could focus on bare bone basics. And like I as a couture designer that dives into the esoteric details of the 5e game engine, I will often disparage wizards for creating such milquetoast solutions. But seriously, they're basically they're not steering the ship. They're the fucking current of the ocean. So they need to build something that's reliable and safe, and when they do something wrong, it causes waves, right? So Cobalt Press, I would say, is like steering a ship. Is it I forget the name of the company. Is it Natural 20 that created Advanced 5e? They're a big ship that's being steered. So in that analogy, little couture designers like myself have little wave runners that like skip along and dance inside of these waves of game mechanics that is 5e. If you'll allow me to wax poetic for a moment about me making a more extensive analogy here. The sea apparently is on my mind today. That's cool. So we kit bash the hell out of the 5e game system, which is like a lot of what my stuff is about, is take a piece of the 5e game engine and then reimagine it or expand on it to the absurd conclusion of awesome. Like the Spelljammer book that I published expands how 5e combat works out to the 50, 500, 1 mile scale squares, instead of a 5 foot square, a 1 mile square, or a 500 foot square, or a 50 foot square, instead of but it all works the exact same way at different scales. It just depends on like what kind of creatures or machines are you operating to function at these larger scales. And that's what my Spelljammer supplement is right here. So you can check that out. And again, it's free preview, but there's like 120 token, map, and NPC creature assets that are included in a zip file if you pick it up. So I like I can make my things free to view, like a free preview of the whole thing, But if you like it, you buy it, because then you get all the accessories to make it easy for you to add to your table. So, let's see. Yeah, so that's an example. Like the color mana system is another example of hacking the game engine, where we replace the 8 schools of magic and spell slots from D&D to use a 5 color mana system where you spend red mana to cast a red spell. If you want to throw a fireball, it'll cost you 3 mana. One has to be red, the other 2 can be whatever. And then you just build your color pool to accommodate whatever colors you want. And that's a callback to 2nd edition, or even 3rd edition, where you had to assign each spell to a spell slot. With this is you assign the mana to a specific color, and then there's a whole group of colors. Like, if I were to go through 8 schools, it's too much. Like, you can't have necromancy mana and conjuration mana and abjuration mana because there's 8 schools. It's too broad. So instead, use a different magic paradigm to reduce the categories of magic so you can categorize them and then assign points in a pool to each one to further flavor your character. So like the 4 elements is air, earth, fire, and water. So in that system, you only have 4 elements of mana that you would then assign to your mana pool. And we're going to be spending time, I think in January is when I have time selected for us to start looking closer at the 4 colors. Because you can blend air and earth together to make ash. So you can have like a soot, ash, dust elementalist that uses both air and earth mana. Or you can have like a air and fire to blend together to have a lightning elementalist. So there are in between spots you can create additional elemental effects that can be built out. Much like how, like in color mana, white and red mana is the Boros Guild in Ravnica, or the Lorehold College in Strixhaven. You can do the same thing with elements and build out neat little elemental narratives for use in an elemental campaign. And that doesn't need to be on the DMsGuild. That can be in the ttrpg and on my Patreon. So when we build out the elemental system, we'll be able to export that into a digital PDF, and then later I could run a Kickstarter to make it become a print product. So that's the idea behind that. Create things as PDFs and then run Kickstarters to expand on that PDF with the next book, and then on top of it be able to start offering print options for the books. I can't do that with DMsGuild, but I can with anything that I create on my own outside DMsGuild in the future. And the reason you can't with the DMsGuild is because I'm not technically the publisher. WOTC is technically the publisher. So the things that I build on DMsGuild are WOTC IP specifically: Magic the Gathering, Spelljammer, Eberron. Those are my 3 flavor jams. So those are the things that I will willingly come back to DMsGuild and give WOTC money, because I love those IPs so much. Planescape as well, but now that Planescape and Spelljammer both exist, and that they've kept Spelljammer in the Astral Sea as they did in 4th edition, since those are both available for us to do on DMsGuild, Spelljammer to me is kind of like Planejammer, Spellscape. Now that was the running joke on Twitter for a while, that Planejammer coming 2022. That was always the April Fool's joke. This guy's here. So that anatomy feels pretty good. I like how that looks. Let's blank that stuff out so we're just dealing with the line art. tatters. Shadooby. So I do a line art model, and once the line art is complete, that becomes a black and white token that can be printed like on a laser printer, low cost, and then I color it. And I wanted to be coloring by now, but this the line art is way too sketchy still for me to call this a token. So I have to spend a little more time on it to get it built properly. That feels good. That does not. I want to cover this up a bit to help push the anatomy back. Like that, and then here like that. This should probably actually be pulled out a bit. Yeah, I want this to be ready for line art, but it is not. Let's take that. Here. That's the space. All right. It's really good to catch anatomy issues before you start coloring. Really, really good idea to make sure you're locked in. There, and now we have a little bit more space for a bit more forearm action. Bring this down to here. I don't want to lock the arm out. Like that. That feels better. Transform, give it a tilt, pull it forward a snig. There. Let me get this resolved. Thank you, Timely Time, for keeping time. Got another 40 minutes? Yeah, 40 more minutes. We're doing fine. I'll probably end up finishing this on the weekend so we can start a new collection on Monday. I don't want to stay on the same set for too long. It gets kind of stagnant after a little bit. Got to keep moving forward with interesting stuff. It's not bad. I think I think I can be content with that. Let's line that in there. Make sure this is all lined up. This is all the extra sketch efforts that we've made in this project so far. I'm going to drop this one down into the mix, and I'm going to conceal that. I'm going to drop this one down again, hopefully this time for the final time. Drop that opacity down. Now we're going to now that I'm actually happy with the anatomy of this, I can actually finish the art. finally finish this guy. So let's get we use the 2 pixels here. I'm going to start with the outline. I don't know why. I normally don't do this, but something has changed. So in me, I'm different. Hi, I'm the new Phil. I just stepped in. Yeah, so we do this creative process now. We're trying to stay to the outline of the figure to look at the silhouette to make sure we like the full silhouette that we're looking at, and this will also help me control my space here a little bit better, like that. There we go. I'll round out that knee. Curve. Let's try that again. There we go. I'm going to put these feet in shadow, so I don't need to worry about specific details on them. Wrist. Let's go back up around here. Here like that. That's the eye. crows are screeching already. No, that's a squirrel. Squirrels screeching. Screeching squirrels. There's the crows. Let's get rid of that. Negative space. Let's grab that. Quick. Neat. Leg. There you go. So that's our silhouette. That's a good silhouette. I am happy with that. Yeah. Just doing a double check. Yeah. There we go. I'll break silhouette here. So I can really steep this in shadow back here, so I don't have to worry about the details. Plus, there's going to be the shattered crystal around it, so most of this is going to get covered up with crystal shards. Create a little hem there. Not quite there. There we go. Down there, and look at this. This color. Feels about right. moves those details into the folds. Here, like that. I spy with my eyes something that is text. Wheel of morality, turn, turn, turn. Teach us the lesson that we should learn. So about the Mecha Kaiju thing. Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead. One second. I'm getting sketch in here. I need to lock this down. Less sketch, more good. Almost there, and I'll catch your text. So, we will need to playtest that too. Oh, are you interested in playtesting Kaiju Mecha combat stuff? Sure, yeah, we're going to playtest that, of course. Currently the intention is to take Bigby's Glory of the Giants and use the encounter scenarios that are at the back end of that book to upscale giant kaijus that way, so that we're operating. So we're, like, you're running around, and I think for those adventures we'll be running around in mecha anywhere from 15 to 30 feet in size, and then I think we can take Storm King's Thunder and take the last chapter of that adventure. Spoiler alert for Storm King's Thunder. 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Storm King's Thunder ends, the way that it's written is your characters drink potions of giantism, and like you grow 50 feet in size or something like that. And then you fight a dragon battle, and then it's over. The potion is gone. You shrink that down to your normal size, and boy, wasn't that an adventure. So we're going to take that instead. What we're going to do is we're going to rebuild Storm King's Thunder so that the castle is a drop ship for mecha, and so your characters, when you get on with the Storm King, he equips you. He basically provides you the opportunity to attune to these war machines, and then he flies his floating island from location to location that have been taken over by dragons, and then the team drop ships out of the flying castle in like, well, we could then make the dragons like 100, 200, 400, 500 feet in size, and then your team drops down into the mecha that are like 50 feet in size each, so that you're still occupying a 5-foot square, but the giant, like the dragon, is now like a 100 by 100 space, so it's like large at the 50-foot scale, up to, at the final boss, it'd be gargantuan, a 500-foot dragon that's like, I don't know, going to eat water deep or something like that. So the dragon, the Storm King's fortress shows up, and it distributes the characters to fly out in their mecha to go fight the dragon, and then you move on to another location to secure that. So that's the action loop that I'm seeing there. So that'll be the playtest environment that we use, and we could potentially dip into Avernus for a little bit to revisit the the war machines, and then just build that out a little bit more along with the kaiju mecha ships to fight colossal sized demons in the blood war and stuff like that. So there's between those 3 different published adventures, there's plenty of content for us to find reason for us to drop mecha into D&D games, and then proceed from there. So that also allows me the opportunity, if I decide to in the future, publish those adventures under this format. So like we did the conversion guide for Light of Zaraxis at the back end of the Spelljammer book that I published, to show how you can use fleet battle mechanics in a Spelljammer game. Here's some examples, and then we've been building out the expansion for an additional fleet battle in Doomspace when the elves come knocking at Vokath's base. Convert that into a fleet battle to push the elves away, to demonstrate your characters' combat prowess to win over the factions that you want to join your armada. So, plans within plans, Paul? That's what we're doing. Yeah, I like how these guys look. I'm gonna shred this a bit more. Push it down here. Actually, no, probably the best way for me to integrate that more properly would be here. Yeah, we'll absolutely be playtesting that. That'll be, I'm gonna guess we'll playtest that stuff maybe like in March. If it's sooner, I'll let you guys know. I know that Ryan Doyle for Vertigrade Games is interested in Kaiju Mecha stuff as well, so I'll be inviting him to participate. But yeah, anyone that's interested in playtesting my stuff, whether it's Color Mana, the Martial Power System, the Kaiju mechanics that we're working on, the Elemental Mana system, if you're interested in any of that stuff, then join my Discord. You have access to my Discord here. And if you want to be a Patreon supporter for $1 or more, you get first rights to the chair. So if there's a playtest that's happening that you want to participate in, I will always invite Patreon paid subscribers first, and then farm out available seats to the rest of my Discord community. And if I can't find a full roster of players that way, I'll farm further out into other Discord channels that I enjoy, and from there, Facebook, Discord, word of mouth, however I can get more people in butts and chairs. That's what I'll do. There, like that. That feels good. And now I can straighten this line out here, like that. Working on these fabric folds, it's a lot of fun. It helps add texture, character interest. It breaks up the blocks in an interesting way. And it has an organic feel to it that's natural, so it helps make your illustration feel a little more convincing. Tatters, Shadooby. That. That feels good. Let's go down to here. Build that out. But yeah, the mecha uses the exact same fighter pilot, fighter ship rules that are already in the Spelljammer book that I published. Except in the Spelljammer book, all of the ships are look like animals, like fish, or birds, or insects. And in the Kaiju book, the Mecha Kaiju, it just takes the exact same mechanics, but instead of being animal shaped, it's now human shaped. So you can like pick up oversized weapons and carry, like massive, like 20-foot shields and stuff like that, to be able to battle at a larger scale. But otherwise, the mechanics already exist for both the Kaiju and the Mecha. It's all in the Spelljammer book. This book is basically just going to be reconfiguring it and then distilling from it just the kaiju and just the fighter ship mechanics, so that you have, and then add a little bit more granularity into it, so it's a little more. The ships is like scales, basically like it's a more coarse, like on a scale of 1 to 5 is basically how you rate ships' scale of power. But once we have the kaiju system built out, it's going to be basically on a scale of 1 to 10. So we're going to add additional levels of granularity to add, so like every potential, like if you were to scale this, like every 2 levels, your characters could be scaling up their mecha. That's kind of the analogy. That's an analogy. That's not literal, but that's the degree of the level of diversity and mechanical depth of these mecha that we want, compared to the fighter ships, which are basically like on a scale of 1 to 5. How strong is your mecha? Is your fighter ship? This will be on a scale of 1 to 10. How powerful is your mecha? So it's, again, added granularity so that you have more character progression, instead of them just being a ship that your team is on and can potentially treat as a bastion. Instead, the mecha is like it becomes your character's shell, basically. You want the same in mecha. You want the same range of diversity as like a druid would have in picking wild shape forms, because that's probably the closest analogy. Is when you pilot a mecha, you're basically wild shaping yourself into a construct. Come on, Kearney, you got this. You got this. Hey, I see some text. Hold on. I'll get to you in a sec. That feels good. What's up? So what will be your skill check system? Oh, okay, gotcha. So the skill, the ability check system that I have as a role-playing game, it basically boils everything down to ability checks. Combat, exploration, social, it's all revolves around either observing or interacting with your environment or creatures. So there's creatures, there's objects, there's persons, places, and things, right? And creatures are considered persons too. So the book revolves around nouns and verbs. So you can observe or interact with persons, places, and things. And so there's three there's roughly, I guess for lack of a better term, classes that lean into that idea. There's delvers that are environmental specialists. They're good at they're good at interacting or observing an environment. There are diplomats, which are good at observing and interacting with persons, right? And then there are artificers, or also the espionage, considered espionage. And that is good at interacting with things. So depending on what kind of aesthetic you want, generally it's persons and places and things, and then there's a specialist for each of those. And then so you're either observing or interacting with a person. You're either observing or interacting with an object. You're either observing or interacting with a location or like an environment. So that's how you break down the classes into those three things. And so, like in combat, you can use your verbs to frame how you're attacking things. Ironically, so the diplomat, being a person specialist, ironically, you can just attack people, right? And there he is. I'm going to shoot at him. That's how you would depict that. So the diplomat is ironically the easiest to conduct combat because you can directly target a creature. An environmental specialist would gain advantages by targeting the environment, like shooting rocks above the target, or like shooting at the ground around the target to get them to move, for instance, stuff like that. That's how the environmental specialist, because you gain for very simple terms. If you're interacting with your noun, you're gaining expertise in doing so. So like if a specialist is interacting with people, they're basically gaining expertise on their ability checks to interact with them or observe them. An artificer or an espionage specialist would gain expertise when interacting with objects. So, and then if you're gonna cast spells, it would still be the same ability check system to succeed at casting your spell. But again, you would frame it around reference towards what your character is a specialist in. So, and if you can't figure out a way to interact with your preferred noun, then you just don't gain expertise. That's when, you use your normal ability checks. So you're always looking for ways to get your character to engage with the environment because you get that expertise. Otherwise, you're just making normal ability checks to interact with the environment. Like a diplomat, if you're climbing a wall, the environmentalist is going to shine because they're climbing a wall. It's a location. But like a diplomat wouldn't be able to manipulate interacting with or observing creatures if they're climbing a wall, unless there's like NPCs further up. It's like, hey, throw me a rope and help pull me up. Then that's a way you can influence the actions of an NPC while you're trying to climb a wall. You can't use you can't use influence on creatures against other players, but players can give each other expertise as like their help action. So that's a very rough example of it. But depending on what kind of a setting you want, you still have those three verbs, but now you're building character archetypes that frame around how do you interact with your verb of choice. It's like sniper military types might want to interact with creatures because they'll have that expertise in attacking them. Like that's my shtick, but at the same time, you're good at like observing how they move, or like you have a sense for how they're going to act. So like that out of combat, that becomes a diplomat. In exploration scenarios, that could be like a charlatan that uses traps and tricks to take people's wealth from them, for instance. So there's a lot of fun ways you can bend the system narratively to work with whatever aesthetic mechanics that you're working with. And what mechanics you use is largely defined by the genre of game that you're playing. Like in a Wild West setting, an environmentalist might be like a survivalist that's used to traveling, like riding alone across the Great Plains, or a prospector that's good at looking for gold mines in California, for instance, if that was the Wild West setting that you were playing. So there's a lot of really neat ways to be able to bend it. But it's designed to be a narratively fluid system with very simple die roll resolution mechanics to conduct the entire game off of just rolling d20s. Hey, what's up? Yeah, certainly could be. Yeah. So the warrior class is defined by how you want to interact with your environment. And basically if you roll high enough, you can one-shot almost anything. But the higher level, the higher difficulty, the more powerful the target becomes, the more difficult it is to one-shot it. You might have to dump a bunch of ammo into it. It could have, the ability check. Basically, the system works on like cipher system on a scale of 1 to 10. If it's a difficulty 5 creature, I'm going to have to hit a difficulty 5, which translates into a DC of 16. So in combat, if I fail at hitting a DC, I provoke an attack of opportunity from the creature that I'm targeting. Like, I'm going to attack you, I'm going to fail my die roll so I don't do any damage to you, but instead the creature damages me by the degree of failure that I had. Like if I had to roll a 16, which is a difficulty of 5, and I rolled a 4, which is a difficulty of 1, 5 minus 4 equals 5 minus 1 equals 4. I'll take 4 points of damage. And like at first level, my character only has 5 hit points. So it's actually level 0 and then 1 to 5. So there's six degrees: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's 0 because of the way that you can cash out your character to gain resources for your team, to like buy new equipment, magical, like to do magical research, or to gain like new territories and assets. So your team isn't so much building an individual in this game. Your team isn't building individual characters. Your team are your players are building teams of characters to perform tasks and missions. And so you can get a 0 rank team for free because they're 0 rank. They cost nothing. But their bonuses are minimal. They only get a +1 proficiency modifier on top of whatever their ability modifiers are, and that's all you get for your ability checks. And then as you gain ranks, you gain proficiency. A first rank team is first level. Effectively, they get +2 proficiency bonus. A 5th rank team is effectively like a 17th to 20th level character in D&D. They get a +6 bonus to their proficiency on top of their abilities, and their ability scores are improving as they gain levels. And then you gain your expertise, which is actually a proficiency die, which will range anywhere from a D4 at first level up to a D12 at 5th level, but a 0 level character doesn't get a proficiency die. So you're just using naked die rolls until you gain a level. So once you gain a level, you can cash in your character for resource points. And it's 1 point for level 1, and you gain level 1 after 1 adventure. So you finish your adventure, your level 0 characters are now first level. You could then cash them in for 1 resource point. A 2nd level team requires 2 more adventures to get the 2nd level. They're worth 4 points. 3rd ranked team is worth 9. A 4th ranked team is worth 16. A 5th ranked team is worth 25. If you're a high enough rank, if your campaign has gone long enough that your team can purchase 5th rank abilities and teams, then you don't gain any points for cashing them in because they come in at the top tier, 5th. But you could cash in a 5th, like if you built up a 5th ranked team from nothing, you could cash them in for 25 points. From 0 to 25, it takes 25 adventures to do it. But at the end of that, in their 5th rank, you can cash them in to gain 25 points. And you could buy a 4th ranked team for 4 points. And then once they built a 5th rank, 16 minus 25 is 9. So you could build a 4th ranked team for 4 points, build them for 4 adventures to 5th rank, and then cash them in for 9 points. So you can, and then you would have those 9 points that you could buy new territories, new spell books, additional, like a new 4th ranked team for 4 points. Your net gain would be 5. So anytime you build a 4th ranked team to 5th rank, you gain a net 5 points. So you could run your campaign by building teams and then choosing to start, like if you're a 5th rank, if you have a 5th ranked guild and you can create 5th ranked teams, you could choose to build a 1st ranked team. And then when you cash them out, 25 minus 4, 1, 25 minus 1 equals, you would gain a net 24 points to your guild to then expand their territory and influence and stuff like that, using the resource points that you accumulate from your characters. So you automatically gain ranks by completing missions. So there are no quote-unquote experience points in that sense, but your guild that your players control, kind of like a bastion, you gain a guild, and your characters control that, and they decide how much they want to lean into that guild to build it out to have different capabilities. But as they gain ranks in guild, they can hire higher ranked teams. So you can set the level, the scale of difficulty for your adventure by, I'm going to build a 2nd ranked team. Okay, cool. That means we're going to be building 2nd rank adventures. And then you're going to be operating at this lower level with the intent of specifically building them to a higher level character so that you can cash them out to gain free resources. You know? Hopefully I haven't beaten that point to death. That looks good. I think I want to get rid of this shoulder hem though. keep coming back to this line here. One second, I'll catch up with your text. Almost there. Stay on target. Hey, well, I'm sorry. What was your text? So a character in the system really has no. You gain feats and features as you gain ranks. Every time, like there's it's random, kind of like Shadow Dark is random. So you random up your character. You don't control. Half the fun is just the chaos of the system itself, the way that you're rolling and the kind of character you get. You randomly roll what your like identity is, what your specialization is, and then each specialist has their own set of feats to be able to like for example, if you're playing a environmental specialist, one of the things that you could acquire is like if you fail a die roll, you can ignore it if it was involving environmental conditions. It's like if you try an ability check and you fail the roll while interacting with an environment, you get to ignore the consequences of failure. And like you can do that once per adventure, like once per session, for instance. Another one is like what's another example? Like it's all random. So like it could be like this level when your character levels up, increase 2 stats by 1 each, or at later levels it can be like an environmental character. Like you could randomly roll gain expertise in a different noun. So your environmental specialist now has expertise in objects as well. So like that becomes that's an option that can come online like at 3rd rank. So you eventually can have like a quote unquote multi-class specialist have access to multiple nouns. I'm gonna take all of this and pull it in a touch. There, that feels more balanced. And let's make sure the line still works. Here, here. Good. I'll be playtesting this system next year at some point. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's time for me to bounce. All right. Well, I mean, this is the line art. So we're looking good for the line art. We actually finished the line art. This is what you'll be able to. Oops, missed a line. Here. There. So this will be this is the actual line art that you'll be able to print out as a 1-inch token for live action games. There, I am content with that. And then so when we come back, we'll actually begin coloring. So this is good to go. Black and white. I got to bounce out of here. My morning is done. I'm going to be back tonight. I think at 6 o'clock Seattle time. That'll be in 10 hours from now. So that'll be 9 p.m. East Coast, and we'll be working on the Artificer and potentially the Warlocks for the Ravnica expansion that we have. We're still figuring that stuff out, but we're going to be Warlock Invocations and Artificer tonight, plus whatever else we get to. So I'll catch you guys then. If you think this stuff is cool, you want to see more, I will like and subscribe. Jump into my Discord, blah, blah, blah. See you guys then. Hey, Ralph, thanks for hanging out, man. I'll see you guys later. Bye.